My recommendation is for you to open a company. The reason why is because when we do rent to rent, we establish ourselves as a property management company. So over the past few weeks, I've been inundated on Instagram with some questions. So I thought I'd create a little video just sharing the questions that have been asked and giving a few answers. So it probably help me. It will help save the number of messages, or it may increase the number of questions I get on Instagram. But let's see how we go. So the first question here is, how can I learn about rent-to-rent strategy? So we have a few events that we run. We at least run an event once a month. It's a free event that anyone can register for. If you want to know when the next event is, just message me directly and I'll send you a link. But the next event in London is on the 27th of July on a Saturday. It's a free event and we'll be specifically talking about rent-to-rent only, specifically HMOs. I've been running a rent-to-rent business for the past 7 years. We have over 330 units and it generates around £800,000 per year in revenue. I hope that helps. Just message me directly and I'll send you the link to the next event. So I've just had another question come in on Instagram. It looks like we've got a following not just in London, outside of London in the UK, which is great. The question is, am I doing any events outside of London? Well, I've got great news for you guys. I am doing an event. It's the first ever Amelia Academy event that's going to happen outside of London. The next event is going to be held in Birmingham. We're going to hold an event for all of you guys in Birmingham or near Birmingham. The event's going to be on the 3rd of August, which is a Saturday. It's a completely free event, and again, we'll be talking about the rent-to-rent property strategy. Here's another question that we've got on Instagram. The question here is, it's a very good question, by the way. What is the role of an estate agent when sourcing rent-to-rent properties, and how do you pay them? It's a very, very good question. So the first thing I say is the first thing you want to do is know the structure of agents' fees. Okay, so estate agents or letting agents typically charge 3 different types of services. They usually provide their landlords with a tenant find only service. Usually it's a one-off fee, or they might charge typically 5% if it's within London. Secondly, they'll do a tenant service plus a rent collection. It's normally a slightly higher price. Again, once the agent finds a tenant, it's then over to the landlord to manage directly. The third, and mostly you find it's very common, is a lot of agents or letting agents have a management service they offer to their clients, their landlords. It's where they manage the tenancy and the communication between the tenant instead of the tenant going directly to the landlord. Typically in the UK, in London, the fees vary from between 8% of the rent collection per month to 12%. So once you know that, from a rent-to-rent perspective, if you're using an estate agent or a letting agent to source your rent-to-rent properties, their role is simply to really find you as the potential tenant. We'll talk about company lets and how to pitch in another video. Or if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's plenty of videos on there on how to pitch to agents. But essentially the role of an agent is where they source potentially you. So what you would do is you go to an agent and pitch to them your business idea or your model of rent-to-rent, without using the word rent-to-rent, of course, and how you can benefit them and their client. So another question on Instagram here. Lots of questions that we get on Instagram. I'm happy to answer them. Please keep them coming. If you want, what you can do is look out for my Instagram stories. I'll be one of the Instagram stories is I'll ask me any question. Feel free to ask a question through that, and at least everybody can see what questions you're asking and my responses. But in the meantime, I'm doing videos like this to answer any of your questions and share the questions. So the other question I've got here is, if you're doing rent-to-rent, if you're doing the rent-to-rent strategy, do you have to open a company, or can you use it as a personal income? It's a very, very good question. So to answer that, I'd say it really depends. It depends on your current circumstances. My recommendation is for you to open a company. The reason why is because when we do rent to rent, we establish ourselves as a property management company, right? So we don't really say we're property investors. We've got a company that manages properties on behalf of agents and landlords. And one thing that we've done is registered with the correct property redress schemes, and they're very compliant in terms of managing properties. So to summarize, the thing that you want to do, I'd recommend, is you do register a company and then pay yourself on payroll. But as always, anything accounting, it's best to speak to an accountant. Right, that's all the questions. I absolutely love answering questions. It was very, very fun. So look, if you guys have any more questions, whether it's about rent-to-rent strategy within property, whether it's to do with buy-to-lets, whether you want to invest in developments, you might be interested in some of our own developments. Any questions that you have, feel free to DM me. And don't forget this video, if you're watching it on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell notification. We'll be doing videos on a weekly basis. Comment below, guys, if you've got any questions. I'll even do videos based on your questions. In the meantime, do follow us, do subscribe, follow our Instagram channel, because we've got a whole lot of content coming out on a weekly basis. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.